I'm coming to you tonight from home. I just uploaded a video of the day I had at this beautiful provincial park, our prefectural park here in our city. I got another video I'm gonna upload tomorrow on cost of living in Japan. Again, I did a nice video on that today. But in between that, I wanted to talk about this incident that happened last week about this Australian father getting arrested. It may have been the week before last. It's been going around. People are starting to pick up the information on it. Um, yeah, he got arrested at a city office. Now, you know, this is, I'm going to talk about this because I'm a man. And I know that I talk about the black men most of the time because I'm a black man. It's because black men need talking about, especially in the United States. But first and foremost, I'm a man, and then I'm a black man. First and foremost, we're all men, and then we're whatever race we are, right? So I care about my men, and I'm going to talk about men when men run into these issues that this brother's having. This Australian brother just got arrested. Now, this guy, let me see if I can get my chance up. So make sure I get my filters. I'm sorry, guys. So he got arrested at a city office in Takasaki. I'm not going to mention the brother's name. You can probably find it, Google it, and you'll come up with his name. I don't want to throw this man's name out in the street. I got too much respect for this man. Um, it's throwing sort of a system out. It's kind of screwing things up with Japan's single parent policy. Um, and what I mean by that is the Japanese can basically, whoever the kids were living with last in the divorce, that parent can take those kids and withhold information from the other parent, like medical information, what school they're going to, sports information, whatever the case may be, anything they feel like keeping from the other parent, they can keep from the other parent, and you can't do nothing about it. Nothing. Okay. So apparently this guy went to, and I got the list up here. He went to Takasaki City, which is in Gunma. I've been there a couple times to a few concerts. It's a nice little city. Actually been there 3 times. And it's right outside of Tokyo, probably about a 45-minute Shinkansen right from Tokyo Station. Sitting on about a 450,000 population city. I'm just bringing this up so you can get an idea what kind of city it is. Um, he um, he went to the city office and he was asking why he couldn't attend his daughter's athletic event because his daughter was taken away from him 7 years ago. Okay, they made an arrest. They arrested this man because he wouldn't leave the city office, and he wouldn't leave the city office because he needed an explanation as to why he could not see his daughter after not being able to see her for 7 years. So he broke the law, is what he did. He broke the law. Even though he was trying to do things right, he was trying to get to see where his kids was at, but he still broke the law in Japan. Now, his girlfriend says that, and he got arrested, so he's been in custody. At the time the article came out, it was 7 days, but he's probably been in custody more for 10 days. One thing you need to know in Japan is that under Japanese law, you could be held, excuse me, in jail for up to 23 days, or actually 30 days. I forgot how many days it was, with no formal prosecution or nothing. So let's say that you got accused of committing a crime. They can just pick you up, take you in, and either whether you're innocent or not, they can hold you up to 30 days. Of course, they gotta let you go, but trust me, you gotta understand. In this country, they have a 99% conviction rate. A 99% conviction rate. What's up, Shaq Food? Thanks for coming on the station tonight, brother. Channel tonight, brother. Yeah, it's gonna. I've got more info. Trust me. Um, so yeah, they can hold you up to 30 days. And his girlfriend is saying that right now, um, the father is in poor health. He's been throwing up and blood, vomiting blood since he got detained on the 23rd. There it is. He got picked up on the 23rd of October. And he's on a hunger strike right now, so I don't know how long that's gonna last. And she also said that, quote, he says, I can't do anything for myself in this country. I want to die now, he said, right? So this is what they call the Japan single custody system. He's the second Australian, by the way, to be arrested in the process of searching for the child. In 2020, another Australian, a journalist, now his name is Scott McIntyre, he visited his ex in-law's home, and he was searching for his children um, and he got detained for 6 weeks. So and it says here, under Japan's single custody system, it is possible for one parent to legally take their child away. Parental rights are given to the parent who last lived with their child. So the other parent will be completely cut off. I mean, completely cut off, guys. And I know someone, a few guys actually, that this has happened to. They're saying that since they started checking on this, over 90 Australian children have been taken by Japanese parents so far. Over 100 children from France and over 500 children from the U.S. have been taken by Japanese parents. Now, I did hear of a case where a couple was visiting the in-laws in Japan. And what's up? What's up? What's going on? Hello. Thanks for coming on the channel. They visited Japan. They had a couple kids. And right before they were supposed to go back to the States, the woman's like, nope, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in Japan with the kids. He couldn't do anything. He had to go back to work. You can't do nothing crazy because you can go to jail, right? So he got on the plane. He went home. And then when he tried to contact her at the in-laws and whatnot, the in-laws didn't want nothing to do with him. And she had moved to another spot. He didn't know address, nothing, knew where his kids were at, none of that. Didn't know anything. And I don't know if he ever saw his kids. But that happens in Japan. That can happen to anybody. Now, there is a new law that's coming out because the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs, um, they've been working on this through long-term efforts. They've been working with the Japanese government, and they've encouraged the Japanese system to move in the direction where it is normal for parents to engage with other children together. But this man, the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs Deputy Secretary Gene Adams, says that he pointed out that, quote, Japanese family views and legal system are fundamentally different. So, because really in Japan, whenever a divorce happens, excuse me, people tend to cut off all communications in order to preserve their face, right, during disputes. The Japanese government passed this single custody law because they're saying that that prevented domestic abuse because apparently the ex-husbands were beating up the wives. Because trust me, just like any other country, Japan has a lot of domestic abuse. They just don't talk about it, but they do. And so after being condemned internationally, Japan's Diet passed a bill allowing the joint parental rights for the first time ever. But this will not be until after next year when this law comes into effect. And because the parents have not agreed to visitors, there are still concerns that the one parent can completely cut off. So there's a loophole in there. So yeah, they passed a law about the, okay, let's try to make it to where both parents can get involved, but it's still up to the parent who has the children. And she can say, no, I don't feel like dealing with that. I'm done. Nope, see ya. She can say that. Excuse me. Now, they're putting this thing up. They're saying that there's an urgent request to Prime Minister Takaichi, um, our new Prime Minister, um, Takaichi-san, um, Prime Minister Takaichi, I'm sorry, to please interfere with this matter as soon as possible. Now, look, this lady's got an 82% approval rate. She's very busy. She just got in office. You think she's going to give it two shits about a foreigner's family right now? No, she doesn't have time to do that. Now, with that being said, I'm going to tell you guys how you can avoid this kind of struggle with, um, with getting in a situation where your kids can be taken away from you. It is not a good feeling, brothers. Trust me. It is not a good feeling to not be able to see your kids. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't see my little girl, my little boy. I, I, I don't know. But fortunately for me, I'm not in that situation. And here's why. When you, what this means, guys, what this means, and you have to, what I tend to do is I tend to look at all the avenues, and I'm not pessimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optimist. Okay, and I will get to your chats here in a little bit. Sorry, when I get done with all this. I'm an optimist, and the way I look at it is this: you have to look at things objectively. And first of all, what that means is that Japanese women, just like any other woman around the world, although they have the differences, although they're more feminine than say women in the West, they still have their shit bitches over here. They still have women over here who aren't good. And the way you can tell that is what you need to do is you need to be very selective in choosing a mate in Japan. Yeah, you can go out with the girl and she look like the anime bitch, or she looks like she's good, you know, yeah, the body good, the sex is all good and pretty things. She says the cute things. She makes little nice, cute little things for you. She gives you all that. Keep in mind that she will pretty much do that for anybody. But what separates you being her boyfriend or potential husband from everybody else is that you are vowing to take care of her for the rest of her life, no matter what. And she's vowing to take care of you for the rest of your life, right? So what I'm getting at is this. When you're dating a woman, you need to really keep your eyes and ears open. And the best way to do that is to see what her relationship is like with her father. Yes. And some of you probably seen me say this on some more of my videos. You guys, if you guys know me for years, you know I've always said this. It depends on her relationship with her daddy. Now, excuse me, I'm just getting over the scratchy throat thing. So, okay, so, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to the chats. I'm seeing the chats come in. Thanks, brothers. So let me tell you, you guys know I always got examples for shit. So, give you an example of what I mean by they need to get along with their father. Now, I don't usually get up here and talk about this kind of thing, but about my personal experience, but I'm gonna say it because, like I said, you guys know me. I'm always transparent. I'm not blowing smoke up in nobody's ass. I need to let the men know what the fuck is happening. And this story that I'm about to tell you will help you men going forward. So, back before I met my wife, I had come out of it. I got a divorce from a Japanese girl I was married to for, I would say, shit, almost 9 years, a little bit over 9 years. And I can honestly say that that was basically a 9 year one night stand. That's what it was. It was a fucking 9 year one night stand. I mean, the sex was outstanding. She was a pretty girl. She had a nice body. The rack was nice. The weight was well proportioned. She was about a 5'3", 98 pound, 100 pound woman. Everything was perfect. She dressed nice. She smelled good. She kept herself clean. She worked out. She swam. We swam together, and we did all of this shit. Right? Well, we were doing well, and then um, we got divorced, of course, because she had found some dude in the Air Force, in Hawaii. Yeah, because we got there, and I wasn't providing for her, right? So I didn't always have the funds because I was in sales, and I guess she had more plans. So great, whoop-de-doo, that shit happens, right? So after we got divorced, I think like 2 months later, she got married to this dude. So apparently she was messing with this dude for over a year while we were still together. So they got married. I know because I saw it in the newspaper. I was like, oh shit, you got married. And then I emailed her. I said, oh. She said, I didn't want you to know about that. I said, well, I know now. And I just cut her off. See, there you go. She wanted to stay friends, but I said, no, fuck no. So anyway, so getting past that. So I was in Hawaii for the last few months before I moved back to Seattle. I was dating a ton of girls, man, local girls who I wasn't too crazy about, but mainly a lot of Japanese tourists. And I ran across this one girl who was from Nagasaki, but she was living in Shiga Prefecture, working in Kyoto. She was working in a restaurant in Kyoto. And I was 43 at the time. She was 25. And I met her at a club in Hawaii. I took this white girl with me who I picked up at my job. I was taking her to the club. I was supposed to be hanging out with her. But she's the one that told me, hey, why don't you dance with that Japanese girl? She don't know what she's doing. So I did. Next thing you know, I ended up walking out the club with the Japanese girl, her friend, and the white girl, and we all walked, because I had to take the white girl back to her car, right? And she was a nice girl, man, but, anyway. So I'm walking down the street with this Japanese girl, and we just talking dirty, man. I mean, we just from the jump, man. We talking about how I'm a banger. She's like, yeah, I can't wait for you to knock the bottom out of me and all this other stuff. I was like, oh, shit, this is a freak. So I was vulnerable. When you get divorced, guys, you're very vulnerable, man. Trust me, you are so vulnerable. You need to know you should not be in any relationship for at least 6 months to a fucking year. You really won't get your personality back for 6 months. So anyway, I was so soft, I was like mush. So I was accepting everything, right? So she went back to Japan, and we kept in touch. We were like phone calling each other. There was a lot of phone sex, man, on the phone. She was like literally, getting off on at the time we didn't do the video thing yet because I had my razor. It wasn't as advanced as the phones are now. We didn't have free shit to call on, right? Like Line and Facebook and WhatsApp and shit wasn't out yet. So anyway, she was up there, man, and we was doing the thing, and then I'd hear her on the phone getting off, and oh shit, I can't wait to meet. So I moved to make a long story short. I had met some other girls before I went to see her, and hooked up with them, Japanese from Japan. I finally left Hawaii. I went to Seattle, and then because I bought a condo, so after I got secured my place, I think the following week I went, excuse me, to see her in Shika Prefecture, Kyoto. So we stayed in Kyoto 3 days, and I'll tell you in a minute why I'm telling you all this. So then we get back to the States. I paid for everything. I had plane tickets. I just met this girl. So I brought her back to the States because, sex was good. I was like, yeah, this girl's a freak. It was. That's all we did in Kyoto. We stayed in the hotel most of the 3 days. I think we one time went to Kobe with her mom and her daughter. I mean, her sister. But, after that, man, it was mainly a hotel, mainly just straight up banging. So I'm thinking the same shit. We can get to Seattle. Yeah, it's going to be 2 weeks of banging. All we did for 2 weeks in Seattle was fuck and fight. And the reason why is because her parents had just gotten divorced a few months earlier. So she hated men. She hated her daddy. She was always talking bad about her daddy. And what happened with that is it spread over into our relationship. It did. It spread over to us. And I kept putting up with this shit because I was vulnerable. And so, make a long story short, by the spring of next year, I was gonna marry this girl. She went back. We kept wanting to see each other back and forth in Japan. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Even though something kept telling me not to, because in the meantime, in between time, I met my wife, who I'm with now, and I told my wife about this girl. I said, hey, me and my wife were going out together for 2 months. We met, I think, in like October of that year, but then we didn't start going out till like beginning of December, and we hung out until the beginning of February. I remember because the Seahawks had went to the Super Bowl against the Steelers that year, and my wife was on a plane that morning in the Super Bowl going back. And I'll never forget because when I've seen her and I dropped her off at the room that day. I remember looking up and I was like, man, I may never see this woman again. And my heart was like saying, man, you need to go after that. But anyway, I did solve that problem. So no, this girl was treating me like shit. Her mom was trying to be nice. Her little sister was really nice, but she was treating me like shit, man, because of her relationship with her dad. I mean, I had put her mom and sister up in an apartment around the street from our condo. I borrowed money against my condominium to put them up and to bring her over and shit. But I started getting stronger again. I started being myself. It had been more than 6 months, and my wife was in Japan at the time, a girlfriend, and she was like, one time she asked me on the phone, she said, look, what do you want to do with us? Because I'm in college and I got to move on my life. I said, I said, I'll talk to you later. And that hit me, man. That hit me. And I was like, you know what? Hey, Deb, what's up, brother? What's up, Deb? I said, you know what, man? I can't lose this woman. So I told the other girl that I was with that I'm going to go to Japan for a few days. I went to Japan. I saw my girlfriend at the time, who would later be my wife. And then because I told her, I said, if I ever come to your hometown, I'm serious. And I was. And so we hooked up. I went back to Seattle and I told this girl, I said, you need to get out of my house now, out of my condo. And I'm not paying no more rent. I canceled the lease, shipped their asses all back to Japan. So my point is this. That was the worst relationship, I don't want to say worst relationship. That was the worst I allowed any woman to treat me in a relationship. Usually I would never even get that. This shit would never get that far. But that was the worst I've ever had. And that was because that woman had a big problem with her daddy. So that's why I always tell people, when you're dating these girls, you need to know what their relationship with their father is like. You really need to know. Ask the questions. You may not meet the father yet, but ask the questions. Hey, so tell me about your daddy. Don't just come out and say it, but after a few, you know, excuse me, meetings and whatnot, you hook up with him and say, oh yeah, yeah, and like me, I always talk good about my dad. And I'm saying, so what's up with your dad and your mom? You just get to know the family, how the family unit is. If she comes out and says, oh, my daddy, I never see him, or he gets on my nerves and this, that, the other, it's not good for you. So you need to go ahead and end that flow. Okay? Don't ignore the warning signs when you select a mate Japan. Do not ignore the warning signs. Japanese women and Japanese people in general are very predictable. Their behaviors are very similar. Yes, they're different people. They think differently. They live in a different place. They eat. They have a different appetite. But their cultural behavior is the same. And they're so easy to predict. And they don't know how to, even though they have this reputation for hiding their emotions, no, they're not good at hiding their emotions. Okay? So, and they're not good at hiding the truth. So, you will have to find out. And a lot of times, you're going to find shit out without even asking questions. You're going to find it out. Yes, you're going to find out without asking questions. So, that's one way for you to keep from getting in the situation that this Australian brother's in now, where he's in jail because he tried to get access to his daughter, and the city office wouldn't explain it to him, so he refused to leave and he got arrested. So that's what happened with him. The story broke. It was written by this guy in the Sydney newspaper, but it quickly reached over Japan because we have quite a few Australians over here who are gonna bring this out, and I know some Aussies living up the hill, and so we were all like, man, that's yeah. See, so yeah. So that's one way to prevent yourself from getting in that situation. Another way to keep yourself from being in a situation where you will not have access to your kids is to build your wealth. Yes, put yourself in a situation to where you are financially stable and you don't have any problems with your monies, with your finances. You can take sole care of your family because although women have a lot of problems here when they walk away, only a dumb bitch will walk away from a man that's providing everything for their family. Because even the in-laws will see that, hey, wait, he's providing everything. I know because I'm in that situation. I don't pay for my in-laws' living expenses, no. But whenever we travel to hotels and whatnot, I pay for the hotels. Whenever we're going to go out to eat, I pay for that. I take care of that because I can. I built this house because I can. You see what I'm saying? So you need to put yourself in a situation to where you become a nipple, where they are dependent solely on you. And you don't want her working because if she works, she's gonna have to get in her mind that, oh, I can just take my kids. Because here's the thing that I want to say is that there's only one silver lining when you lose your kids. And trust me, I know most of you men up here, matter of fact, but 99% of the men would not want to be in this situation. But there's one good thing is that you don't have to pay child support in Japan. They take your kids, oh, fuck them, I ain't paying no child support. And a lot of times these guys end up going back to their home countries and they don't get in touch with their kids, or they might see them years later when they're already out of high school. Because now the kids will get older and then they will be like, hey, you know what? I want to let me see, this thing come out with all kind of stuff on here. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this because this one, I don't know who this person is. It's all in Russian. I don't know. I don't know. Spasiba, let me know what's going on, brother. That's all I know in Russian is spasiba, thank you. Pajloshta is please let me know what's going on. I don't understand what you're saying. So anyway, I might translate later. So what I'm saying is you don't have to pay the child support. So, like I said, if you are running your home and they decide to take the kids, you're not going to say all right because you don't want to lose your kids, but you don't want to commit any crimes over here like this brother did getting arrested at the city office. You don't want to commit the crimes. He's probably on a remaining, I don't know what kind of visa, he's on working visa or something. He's got a girlfriend that he's going to have to be forced to marry, and that may not be the best thing to do. But now he's going to have to marry her to get that spouse visa to stay in Japan. See, because the minute he leaves Japan, he's farther away from his kids. So yes, you don't have to pay the child support, and but here's the thing. Here's the reason why the Japanese government won't chase you around for child support money. Because they know that they have a very good welfare system that will take care of women with children. They will take they will take care of women with children. Oh, okay. Sorry. No, it's okay, brother. No problem, man. Okay, I didn't know it. It's kind of far away from me, so I couldn't really see it yet. I probably had to pull it up on my other let me mute this on my other screen here so I can see the chats coming bigger. There it is. Okay, I can see it now. The chat's coming bigger. Sorry. Okay, there you go. Sorry. Gotcha. You said sorry. I was joking. Okay, no problem. So yeah. So the only good thing out of this is you don't have to pay child support. You don't have to pay any child support. Japanese government's not going to chase you around for child support because they know that they have a system that can take care of the children. But it does put a burden on the mom. I don't know, the mom is probably depending on the in-laws to take care of the kids, but it puts a big burden on those guys. It really does. It puts a burden on them. And so it's not easy for the mom. It's not going to be easy. For all intents and purposes, they will never get another man. There ain't a Japanese man in Japan that wants to go out with a woman with kids. Not a man over here. So that's why I'm telling you, the best way to do this thing is to make sure that you are financially set to be able to take care of family without your wife working. And watch that woman's relationship with her daddy, because if she has a bad relationship with her daddy, she's gonna have a bad relationship with you, and she's gonna have a bad relationship with your son when you have a son. And you know what? What you don't need is a bitch in your house treating your son bad. You don't need that. You don't need that, guys. Because contrary to popular belief, no matter how good the pussy is, the number one person in your house are your kids. The most important people in your house are your kids. They are your kids. Look, I love my wife. I always love my wife. My wife is a beautiful person. She has a very good personality. And not everybody's going to come across a woman like that, but a lot of guys will, a lot of guys won't. It's just the way, this law of averages. But still, the most important people in this house to me are my kids, because my kids are not able to do everything yet. They still need assistance in getting their life started. And I think as a man, as men, we need to keep that in mind, that we are the breadwinners no matter what. I don't give a shit what the future society says or this new Western woman bullshit. You have to, as a man, need to put yourself in a situation where you are the primary earner in that home. Because guess what, brothers? When you're the primary owner, guess what? A primary earner, guess what? Nobody's going to come up to you and say, oh, we're taking your kids away. Nobody's going to come up and tell you what to do, because they know that they have nothing. They know they can't just go out. They won't have anything. Or they know that the government's going to take care of the kids. But if you're making enough funds to where your kids can live comfortably, you can go on vacations anytime you want. You can put food on their table anytime you want. She ain't got to worry about, exactly, leverage and options. Thanks, Shaq. So exactly, leverage and options. You need to do that. You need to do that. Now, like I said earlier, and on this talk here tonight, I'm a man first. We're all men first, and then I'm a black man. So, that's why I always talk about my brothers, my black brothers, my black men. But I still care about my men. I always care about my men, about the men. Because like I said, we go through a lot of shit. And a lot of people don't really appreciate what we do. They just think we just go out there and just bullshit around. But I'm telling you, I respect a man that is raising a family, because it is a hard thing to do, raising a family. I mean, something happens we get a disaster right now. This house falls apart, or we get flooded, or whatever. I don't know what the case. Anything, something can happen. Guess who? Everybody in the house is gonna come looking at. They're gonna come looking at you, and they're gonna say, "Okay, Daddy," or your wife's gonna say, "Baby, what are we gonna do now?" And you, as a man, need to know what to do. You ain't looking at them saying, "Oh shoot, baby, I don't know what we're gonna do. What we gonna do?" And I give an example, because I always got examples for shit, about what the problem is with some men today. In the United States, a lot of black men are raised by single moms. I was raised by a single mom. A lot of my friends were raised by single moms. My parents got divorced when I was 4 years old. A lot of my friends don't even know who their daddy is. So when you're being raised by a single mom, they're softening you up for the kill. They're basically raising men that they will later on hate. They never teach you how to take care of yourself as a man. They're always telling you to open the door for the girl, spend money on the lady, treat that lady nice, don't hit that lady, because they're coming from that generation, at least the older ones are, where the men would abuse the women, where there was a lot of domestic abuse. And there was. My grandfather, he beat the shit out of my grandmother all the time. My daddy told me. My daddy said the first thing he remembers of his daddy was kicking his mom when she was on the floor in the kitchen. And that's because I'm not making excuses, but that's because a lot of those brothers were stressed the fuck out. They get back from World War II protecting the country, and they thinking they're going to live a good life, and the white man's telling them, no, you're not. You're going to go back in that pot and go back in there and clean that toilet is what you're going to do. Or you can't walk on the same sidewalk as a white woman like before in some areas of the country at the time. And they stressed the men out. So they go to they hit the bottle and they hit the stress. So they're coming off of that. So then the next thing they do when they're raising these men is they're like, my mother used to tell me all the time, you are just like your father. You male chauvinist pig. I never forget she called me a male chauvinist pig to my face one day. And she said, you're just like your father. And I must have been only about 12 years old. The same as my son, I'm about 12 years old, and she's telling me this shit. And it made me feel bad for a minute. Because I was like, well, is it a bad thing that she be like my daddy? Because my dad was still in communication with me and my sister. He would take us to the zoo, and whenever he can, he was a cop, so he'd come and pick us up. He took me to Disneyland when I was 12 with my stepbrother and stuff like that. He took us around. And then as I got older, my daddy and I got even closer when I was out of the house. You know, we got closer and closer. We have all kind of conversations. We call each other all the time. I'd see my dad. I'd stay with my dad sometimes when I got back to the States. And we just built our relationship back up. And so she'd say, yeah, you're just like your father. And I say, you know what, Mom, you're right. I am just like my daddy. And I'm fucking proud of it. And that's the thing. You need to be proud of being your daddy's boy. Because I'm a man and I'm a son of a man. And that's what it is. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, because unfortunately there's a lot of simps out there. A lot of guys have been softened up. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who was raised by a single mom is a simp. But I do know that if you've been raised by a single mom like myself, you had to have some other men in your life to prevent you from becoming a simp. If you didn't, you pretty much making simp decisions. You really are. Like Snoop Dogg said something in the song. I listen to Snoop. And he said, that one song, Snoop Dogg, your bitch chose me. You know? And that is so against the norm for a man. And that's why I want to tell you how to keep yourself in this situation. You don't let a bitch choose you. You choose the bitch. A woman does not choose you. You choose them. They don't set up a date with you. You set up a date with them. They don't. You know how it is in the States. You see these women, man, right? I mean, this happened a lot, especially when I was younger. You go to a club and she's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna give him some. Hey, come here. I want to talk to you." And you a 20-year-old buck. Shit, you're taking hard with the wind blow, like Eddie said. You like, yeah, that was his pussy, and your nose smell that shit. You're like, yeah, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Hey, I want you to come with me. Okay, where we going? Where we going? Where we going? And you just happy you're getting laid, right? But what you don't understand is that woman has already got control over you. The one who sets the tone first is the one that got control the whole time that you're in a relationship. Period. No matter what. She can bring you in and she can snap her fingers and kick you out at the same time. That's why you started. But we have so many guys out there that are simps that get themselves into some twisted situations with women. They end up getting them pregnant. They end up having babies with them. They end up marrying these women that they should have never married. They should have never got involved in. Like myself, I should have never got involved with that 9-year-old I was with. But the reason why I did, because I was looking, oh yeah, the pussy's good and the body's nice. Ooh, that's what I want. Yeah, she got cute little fingers. Yeah, let me go for that. She looks good. She smells good. But all of that shit, it doesn't last forever. Because when they get like late 20s, early 30s, man, all of a sudden their racks start dropping and dropping and dropping. And then the ass, for some reason, no matter what they do, the hips got to need to be worked on. And you just start to notice shit in a woman because that's the natural progression of age. There's nothing wrong with it, but all I'm trying to say is nothing is permanent. Nothing in this world is permanent. The only thing that's permanent is your conscience. Nothing is permanent. This house I'm sitting in is not permanent. This table, this phone, nothing, none of this shit's permanent. This shit can be taken away anytime, destroyed anytime. So nothing's permanent. Your car could be your car could be gone. There's nothing permanent except your conscience. You see? So once you understand that, then you can put yourself in a situation to where You choose who you want to be with, not them. Don't let them choose you. You choose them. You choose them. Because when you choose them, you take all the responsibility of whatever happens, you eat it and you take it with pride. You're like, okay, well, fuck it, I chose this one, and this is the way things are. And then if you choose it and then things ain't going the way you want to go, then you can just go and say, hey, all right, well, see ya. I gotta give me another one because you're not doing what I need you to do. Always remember, God, men, always remember that we hold the upper hand, especially when we have financial power. We hold the upper hand. We make most of the funds. So all this modern women bullshit, it doesn't really help the family out well. I know some guys like, oh man, well that's old-fashioned thinking. No. Mm-mm. Even our new prime minister, the women over here complaining about her. Oh, she only hired 2 women on the post, and she's that conservative. She must be pleasing the men. She's not up there to please a man or a woman. She's up there to run a fucking country. That's what she said when she got in that first night. Y'all seen it? You saw the words come out of her mouth. That's what she's up here for. So they got nothing else to complain about. So anyway, yes. So I just wanted to bring all this up. I'm gonna start looking at the chats now. But yeah, man, that's a really bad situation to be in where you can't get access to your children. And basically, the way it works in Japan is, my wife told me this today, and I know she probably knew about it, but she said, really, foreigners ain't got no kind of power over Japanese. And I remember we don't. When I was in Okinawa, they would tell us that if you got in a car accident with a Japanese, even if it wasn't your fault, it's your fault. Because the Japanese would say, well, if he wasn't here, I wouldn't have hit him. That's what we heard. That's the briefing we got on Kadena Air Base in Okinawa when I got there. And then some of these brothers up here know that have been stationed in the Navy, Marine Corps over here. When you got those bases, they did that orientation. You got told that during orientation that you on SOFA status, but still, you know, good thing about being on SOFA is they can lift you out of the country. You ain't got a certain time, and you just go. I met a guy actually. I was working with this guy that killed an Okinawan. I told you I was gonna answer shit. He was drunk as shit, and he jumped the median, and his car flew into the van that the guy was driving in. And keep in mind, Japanese cars at that time were not that safe, made in Japan, and for Japanese market. And his car crashed through the man's windscreen, killing the man instantly. And this guy was at work like the next week, and I was working with him, and kept looking at him like, how the fuck are you at work and you just killed somebody? But I could tell that he was broken down, man, that he was really going through some shit. I could tell he was going through some shit. But I wasn't feeling sorry for his ass. I was thinking to myself, you should be in jail right now because you just killed somebody because you were fucking drunk driving motherfucker. And you killed somebody in a country where people don't drink and drive. So, because the laws here are very strict. So that's why I'm bringing that up. Okay, so let me look at the chats, man. So I appreciate all love. Shaq Fu's here. Oh, Dreamer Bechara, what's going on? Oh, Dreamer Bechara from India. Yes, 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 brother. I know you did have a shirt like this because, yeah, I get this from some of the Indian brothers, man. Yes, yes, that know that, and they like this kind of pattern. Yes, they do. Chris Barnes, Ohio. What's up? What's up, homeboy? Chris, what's up? Dad, what's up, baby? What's going on? Thanks, brother. Yes, yes. Yes. Oh, you was talking to your home about this last night a little bit. Okay, I got you. I got you. Yes, ultimate power in the family and respect in Japan. Yup. Yeah. Shaq Fu says, I don't want my future Japanese woman to work. Yes. Um, yes. Yes. I really, guys, I can't stress that 100%, man. You don't want them to work, man. You don't want to work. And see, you know how in the West, man, you, you know you're on the wrong foot when you meet a woman and she explaining to you all her career options. Like, oh yes, what do you do? Well, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a dash, and I do this at work, and I do that at work. I'll tell you right now, I'll just sit there during the date, man. And I've done this. I just look at them, and I don't say nothing. And they're like, and then they just tell me more shit that they do at their job. And then in the end, I say, you know what? I'm sorry, this is not gonna work out. And ooh, why not? Why not? What did I do? Did I wear the wrong cologne? I said, I'm not interested in your job. I'm not, I don't care about your career. And I get home and talk to my boys and say, I don't give a fuck about this woman's career. What the fuck I got a woman's career for? That's not gonna do me no good. When you tell me all your career options, all that means is that that's time you taking away from my house, from me and my family that we're gonna raise. You taking all that. All that means is that's all the time you're taking away from me. Now, if you want to pursue that same thing after our children are grown, then by all means step out there and do it. But you have a family to raise if you want to be with me. And I don't give a shit if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a politician, none of this shit. I don't care. I didn't marry your career. I mean, I'm not marrying your career. I'm not going to get engaged to your job. Because you got a lot of women out there, man, in the West. They will answer their phone from their boss when they're off first before they answer the phone from you. They will get the phone from their fucking boss. Ring, ring, they look at it and they see you coming in there. They cut you off. Yeah, boss, what you need? It's a fucking Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the boss will call them up, and they answer the phone on their boss over you. That don't make no goddamn sense. It really doesn't. So be careful of that, guys. If they coming out to you with this, oh, I'm this, that, the other. Because the bottom line is this. Whatever they are, they're not bringing the money to the table because they don't know how to manage their fucking finances. We already know that. Most of those women, they may have good careers, but they're poor financial managers because they're spending so much money trying to look good, trying to look like the lawyer in the other office. When they're paralegal, they try to look like the lawyer in the other office who's been there, or she's probably dating their partner, but they're trying to spend money to look like her. They go get the Louis Vuitton bags, they gotta go get the shoes, they gotta go get the watch, they gotta spend all this shit. Oh wait, no, I can't do that. I need this cologne, I need this $400 bottle of cologne, I need this, that, the other. You don't need a bitch going, putting all this nice shit on, leaving you. If you want to put all that shit on your body, you need to be coming home with me. Not going to some goddamn job. That's the way I approach it, guys. I may be old fashioned, but trust me, that shit never changes. No matter how modern this shit gets, it's always got to be, the man has got to be the man. No matter what, we got to be the man. Gotta be. One of my favorite men that I respect the most out of there is Jim Brown. Hardcore brother, Jim Brown. You know Jim Brown, a football player. He used to play for the Cleveland Browns back in the day, one of the top running backs in history. He was a hard brother. He run motherfuckers down. And then after that, he built a nice movie career. Yeah, he had some reputation for smacking a few women around, but he had to get that out of his system. But he was a hardcore brother, and he stood up to the brothers to the end. He was the kind of guy that you piss off in the football game, man, and he look at the defender and say, that's going to cost you 15 yards, and end up running this motherfucker down. He was probably one of the first black men in sports that just beat everybody's ass, no matter what they were, and didn't care. Him, and at the time, he also, another solid man, who's actually my distant cousin, Muhammad Ali, was a solid man, too. He was all man. He had women because he had all the women. That's how it was. You can't take the women out of the brothers. We African. We used to have hundreds of wives. And the West tells us we can only have one fucking wife. Where that shit come from? That's their motherfucking law, not ours. So I ain't got nothing. I don't got no disrespect for brothers who walk around with 4 and 5 women. Hey, if they can take care of them, hey, good luck, brother. That's the way this shit gotta work. If I was a fucking million, a billion over here, I'd be like Elon Musk. Shit, I'd have me about 4 or 5 of these motherfuckers over here. And 3 ties, I had me 3 ties. Shit, probably 5 Japanese. Had me some Ukrainians up in there. Eastern Europeans out there, as Ukrainians, Latvians, motherfucking Bulgarians, Croatians. Be all up in my house. Or in my houses around the world and shit. And I just pick up the phone. Hey, look, hey, I'll be in Croatia next week, baby. Go ahead and hook this up for me. Okay. Say hi to your wife. Yeah, I will. Thank you. That's how it's gotta be. That's how it could be. Because when you in power, you can write your own shit. But you got brothers in the States trying to run the game like that, and they just, you deadbeat this, you deadbeat that, because they're just not running it right, that's all. But they're men, though. See, I respect Jim Brown. Jim Brown's one of my favorite men. Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, of course, Malcolm X. These are brothers that I always keep in my heart. Fred Williamson used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, defender. He was in the movies too. These are brothers I grew up on, black exploitation. You know, Shad, the brother Jack Richard Roundtree was the man up in there. You know, Sam Jackson, if you want to look at some future. I'm just putting familiar names out there. Sam Jackson's the man. Denzel. But Denzel, I'm a little bit perturbed about right now. But Sam Jackson's hardcore. Lawrence Fishburne, hardcore brothers. But Jim Brown is my rock, man. That's my rock. Because you seen that movie, man, he was in Any Given Sunday. And that's a classic movie, by the way. Him and Al Pacino, that's a classic movie, man. When he was defensive coordinator for the team, and they brought the forms up, the pictures up to him. They were losing the games. Get this shit out of my face. You know, he said that in the movie, man. You check it out. Any Given Sunday, Jim Brown's like, get this shit out of my face. Damn it, you're dumb enough. We made it simple enough. Because he didn't like defenders, man. So he would always, that was a perfect role for him to talk bad about the defense. But no, off the theater, away from the lights, Jim Brown was the man. He was a good man. He was. He was a hardcore brother. Probably the last of the hardcore brothers, man. I would say Jim Brown. So yeah, looking at these chats, brothers. So yeah, Shaq Fu, you right, brother. Vet and vet hard, man. You do. And brothers, another thing. So when you vetting, man, right? You gotta understand that when you oh shoot, it's looking. When you're vetting, you got time to vet. You got time to vet, brothers. You do. You got time to vet. So don't think that you don't, because you do. Take your time. Don't rush. Don't rush on this. Don't rush it. This is your life, man. You don't have to rush. Because they don't care how old you are. They really don't. They don't care how old you are, man. I know partners right now. I introduced him to this woman. My wife's, my wife's, um, she's about, I think this woman's about, I think she's about 3 years younger than my wife. Is that right? I think she's 2 years younger than my wife. But my friend is 27 years older than her, than this girl, and they got married 4 years ago. So they don't care. And this woman was a big time cheerleader in Japan. They don't give a shit, man. It's, you know why? You want to know why? Because my friend is able to support everything. He has the funds, he has the home, he has the stuff, and he's living up there in Vegas. He can support anything. This woman ain't got to work. She ain't got to pay for shit. She comes, she comes in the house. She keeps her mouth shut. She does everything she needs to do for this man. That's the way it's got to be. The reason why Japan has so many problems today with the young couples not being able to have kids and whatnot, because the young man can't make enough money to support his wife. That's what it is. I know. I know some family out in Tokyo, and I can't mention this guy's name or what he does, but I went to his wedding the year before last. Actually, yeah, what was it? Yeah, 23. And he was telling me, man, we met up this earlier this year. He said, hey, man, man, it's gonna be rough for me and my wife trying to have kids because he said the cost of living is so expensive out here. And his brother just had a baby a year ago, and they're a young couple. Both him and his wife have to work. And then the guy I was just talking about, him and his wife work. See? So you don't want the woman to work. No, you don't want her to work at all. Um, so, yep, Shaq Fu leveraging options. And exactly, Shaq Fu, thank you. Find someone that's on your purpose. Here's another thing I was going to mention. Make sure that this woman is interested in your family. Like when you do, like me, I do family research. You're doing your family research, make sure that they are going to be asking questions and they're going to know your family tree. Because if they don't, then they're not for you. Because that means they're not really concerned about you or what comes out of your mouth. They're just here because they're there. And I know this because unfortunately for me, that's the only draw that my wife has. Is my wife doesn't ask about my family much. She doesn't look in my family book or my tree, nothing. She's never looked at my family tree. And I'm gonna have a conversation with her about that one day because my son is starting to notice that. But yeah, I know all about her family, but she doesn't. She'll listen to what I say. She knows who my second great grandfather was, escaped, self-liberated Civil War veteran. She knows that man because I talk about him all the time. But she's never looked at my family tree. She never read my family book or nothing like that. So that will be brought up, and trust me, I'll bring that up. That's the only, if I have any beef, that's the only beef I have. But luckily for her, she has a lot of other good qualities about herself that keep us together. But see, now you have a chance when you're out there dating the women, you can see how they're going to be. Like I said, they got to talk good about their daddy and their family. Because they're talking good about their family unit, that means when you become a family unit, they're not going to be the kind of woman that run away, as my wife wasn't. Me and my wife were together. At one point, we only had $3 in the bank in the States. We were struggling. We didn't have any money. This was back as early as 2014. I remember the first 3 months of 2014, I didn't have any money. The only way I was able to pay any parts of my mortgage was because I got a tax refund. And they put me on food stamps with me and my wife. This was 2014. This was a little bit over 10 years ago, about 11 years ago. But that woman stayed with me. She never once said, I'm leaving. She just asked me, oh, okay, babe, so what do you want to eat tonight? And that was it. Because you know why? She comes from a solid family. So you got to make sure they come from a solid family. Um, yes, Crazy Cast, no problem, brother. Always, always. Yup, always in the bio and the single. Yes, yup. Yes, yes, brother. Yeah, he's my distant cousin, man, Muhammad Ali. And that's what's funny because my father was a boxer. Isn't that ironic? My father was a boxer, and my cousin's father was a boxer. In fact, he taught my dad how to fight. And my Leonidas Berry, the famous doctor that wrote our book about our family, when you find a clip of a doctor examining Joe Louis, I got it on my phone somewhere on my digital, because I went to my cousin's house in Maryland and Baltimore, and he had an old clipping of a newspaper, because he was really close to my cousin that wrote the book, who I never met. He was the doctor that was examining Joe Louis before Joe Louis went into the army back in the 40s. That was my cousin. Yep, I got the picture. I got the proof. See, so we got a lot of connections. Yes, a whole harem. Yes, yes, Devin says yes. No problem with Virginia as long as I can provide for them. Yes, 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 Chris, we're all learning and growing in life. Okay, so this brother said that it seemed like the best way to um find someone in Japan is through an introduction. Um, yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would say that. I would say that. Because let's look at that for a minute because Japanese, they really care about their reputation. So if they introduce you to someone, then they know that you're expecting that person to be just as good as they are. So yeah, that's a good point. So Shaq Fu says, Smokey Robinson is my distant cousin. My pops told me years ago. I got to look more into that, however. Yes, yes. Just I'm telling you, if you get your DNA, in fact, I'm gonna order a kit for my wife, so she can check out her roots on Ancestry. That way, I can get her more involved in it, right? Um, she just does a swab and send it in. They'll let her know what her DNA is like, and I'm gonna do that for my kids later too. But yeah, you'd be surprised who you relate to. Like I'm related to Halle Berry. Halle Berry's my distant cousin, and Halle Berry does not talk to her dad who passed away because her dad was abusive. He was beating on her mom all the time. Her mom's white, her daddy's black from Alabama because he was the descendant of some of the slaves that in my Berry family that got sold down the deep south. Pretty much anybody out there that's a Berry, I'm related to. If they're black and they're Berry, I'm related to. Because the Berries only came from that one part of Maryland at first before they started spreading out. So yeah, yeah, you'd be surprised who you related to. Like I know I'm related to Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president. Yep, I'm related to him. I'm related to the McCoys, the Hatfield and McCoys. I'm on the McCoy side. Yep, I'm related to a guy that was dealing with the McCoys. Yep, I'm related to the McCoys. I'm a McCoy, and somewhere in my line. Related to people off the Mayflower. I'm connected all the way to the Mayflower. Connected all the way to the Revolutionary War. So yeah, you'd be surprised. And another thing, I'm finding a lot of relatives in Australia and New Zealand. Yeah. I met some cousins from Aussie. Yeah, Australia. A weird thing about Australia, speaking of Aussie, when I was looking for a job back in '94 up in Tokyo, and I was wondering why she looked so much like Harry Truman. I met this young Australian that was looking for a job like me, and we all sat down joking around, and she said she was related to Harry fucking S. Truman, the nuke guy, the guy that dropped the nukes on Japan. Yep, that's her distant cousin, Harry S. Truman. But she looked just like him. It was bad because she's a woman, but she looked like Harry Truman, man. That was pretty fucked up. But yeah, in fact, she slept in the room right next to mine. Yeah, right next to mine. She slept in. Because I could hear her snoring in there sometimes when she was sleeping. So yeah, that's how that works. But yeah, so yeah, that guy, man, the poor Australian guy, it's October 23rd, he got arrested. The day is the 12th, so he's going to be held until the 23rd of November. I think they can hold you for 30 days. And so I don't know how his hunger strike's going to work out. I know he's not going to be able to see his kids because they won't let him. His mother, his ex-bitch ain't going to let him. But here's what usually happens, though, is when the children get older, they're going to want to see the dad. They're going to want to know about the dad. They're going to start asking about the dad. Then the mom will come looking for you because the kid's going to put pressure on the mom because the mom realizes, oh, wait a minute, I don't want them hating me. So let me tell them about the dad because I don't want them hating me, right? Because they will. They'll hate the mom for doing that. Yeah. So I just wanted to get up here and tell you guys about this. I'm going to shut it down. I just uploaded a video that I had a really nice day today. It was so beautiful. Even though my throat was bothering me, my coughing was bothering me a little bit, but I went to up to the prefectural park with the colors, and I went up to Kashiwazaki City, which is a nice little city near us. And that one is pretty good. Once I get it downloaded off my other video device, I'm going to upload that. That one is a big one because that one talks about numbers in Japan, like the average household income. And I pulled those sources from Japanese sources. I just typed in Japanese and looked it up. That tells you what the average income is, like in Tokyo and in my city, what's the average part-timers get. And oh, you're going to be surprised when you see that video. So anyway, Jay, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? I'm getting ready to shut it down, but thanks for watching, brothers. Thanks a lot, man. I'm losing my voice right now, but thanks for coming up on the channel. I will talk to you guys later on. This is PSP, man. I'm out. Let me know if you have anything in the comments.